Is there a heaven or was that a lie? Let me tell you something, I don't really mind. As long as I'm here, I'll kill that with style. Whether it's now or in the future, make sure you bear me with the shooter. Bulletproof inside my silencer. When I go to the grave, I keep it gangster. 6 foot deep, on reef. Bond the pedal, lotty beast. Big war gone between on and east. So watch your neck back, protect your head piece. Please, my youth, gonna try live clean, but do your own thing and smoke a little weed before you start smoke. What you see, Jah Rastafari bless you and me.
Survive is not trap but war. Him say my stamp out of the war. Say my big man up, they won't live far. Without Jah, they can't reach far. Survive is not trap but war. Him say my stamp out of the war. Say my big man up, they won't get far. Without Jah.
Yes, people, what's going on? Subtex here. And today we're going to have a look at how I personally just have like jam sessions, basically. I'm going to show you guys how to rip a vocal off a track using RX10, and then how I use relatively simple drum patterns that I've cut up into sections, and not even that many sections, just a couple. And basically I have a jam session with the Novation Launchpad and the Maschine MK3. And basically you can just have a lot of fun just making up some relatively simple stuff, mashing it together, experimenting with different combinations of the patterns. And I think you'll agree with me, the end result is pretty epic. So stick around, we're going to walk through the whole thing, and then I'll play the full video of the performance at the end, and you can also catch it for a free download from my SoundCloud. So you can head over there and get that totally for free. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, and let's get cracking. Alright, so here we are in Ableton, and we've got the track that we're going to rip the vocals off is the Low-Fan remix of Jah War with Flowdan and the Bug. Great track. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to rip the vocal off this track. Now there are a bunch of online ones. I've never had much luck with them, to be honest, but luckily I've got RX10, which is an absolute dream for any kind of serious audio restoration or manipulation, shall we say. So what we're going to do, we're going to jump into RX. I'll show you the quickly just show you the process of ripping the vocal out, and then we'll crack on with all of the fun stuff. Let's do it. Alright, so here we are in RX10. Now to start off with, very simply, you just drag in the track that you want to work on. It will load up like this. And then RX10 is a very complicated program to get your head around. It can do so much, but it really is the absolute pinnacle of audio restoration, or in this case, separation. So all you got to do for this, we're going to keep it very simple. You just come up here to Music Rebalance, and this is the default screen for it. And you want to drop down the bass, the percussion, and the other, which I guess is everything else. Separation up to 100%, and put the quality to best. Then all you got to do is hit render, and it will take quite a while because it requires a lot of processing power. And then the end result will be a version without any of the music in the background. Now I did discover with this, as we'll see in a minute, it left some weird artifacts left over, but I actually ended up really loving the effect of it. So sometimes crisp and precise is not always the best, as we'll find out in a second. Alright, let's jump back here. I'm not going to actually render it because I've already done it and it takes ages. So let's jump back into Ableton and we'll have a look at the way the vocals are cut up. Alright, let's do it. Okay, so now what I've done is for each one I've dragged in the full, how long is it? I don't know, it's about 3 minutes long, the whole track into each section. And then basically I've listened to it, gone through and split it up into usable parts. So here we've got the intro.
Yo, no some white test. Right, I know it's the Big Flowdan in effect.
Now as you can hear, there's lots of weird artifacts left over from the separation process, but I actually really loved it. I just think it adds a really nice texture to the track. And there's some purists out there, I'm sure, that are going to go, that is terrible, oh, you can't do that. But frankly, if it sounds good, fuck it, go for it. So yeah, then we've got the intro just there, and then we've got verse 1.
Them boy get body in the revolution, but the war is begun. Bugs, hand me. Somebody like I got them can't see me come. Them boy get up and run. 2004, 321, but I'm as Uber and I'm...
Yeah, so it sounds really weird, but out of context, but mixed in with the rest of the track, it sounds pretty damn good, I think. And then obviously when you're doing this, you're going to have to spend some time getting in and making sure that the loops actually line up. Like, it's a bit bit of a strange one for this track, I found, because they don't actually loop too well. So that one actually did. So like just here, what's this? So this is this one. But for it to loop correctly in time with the track that we're gonna freestyle as we're going along, actually having the loop point at the start of bar 49 and the end of 56 didn't loop at all. It just sounded really off and really weird. So I spent quite a lot of time going in and just fine tuning it so that it basically it's a nice pleasing loop and makes sense within the rest of the track. So there we go. So that's basically how we've done the vocals. Now let's jump into the interesting stuff. Well, it's all interesting, but the more fun stuff into the drums and the bass. All right. Okay, so now we've got the vocal cut up and cut into sections. Let's talk about everything else that's going on the Novation to start off with. So this is the Launchpad Mark III. It's a pretty basic bit of kit, but you can do a hell of a lot with it. I'd highly recommend it. And you can pick it up pretty cheap these days. So, yeah, you should definitely go and check it out. Anyway, so this is the Launchpad just here. And on it, in group number 1, I've got kick patterns, snares in number 2, hi-hats number 3, shakers, bass, like a little tiny top loop that's sitting in the background. And then this is the vocal cut up, as we just went over. So, first of all, let's just make sure nothing's running. And let's just play the beginning of the most simple kick pattern. So as you can hear, very basic, but then you add in a snare drum, all of a sudden you've got dubstep. Then let's just add in one of the hi-hats. Still very simple, still very simple. The next hi-hat pattern's got a little bit more movement to it. You know, just adds a little bit of energy. Now the shaker I put in to really add some movement and some like speed, some pickup to the track. So let's just drop that in as well. As you can feel, you know, it really picks up the pace of it. Then next up we got the bass line. And then we can switch up the kick pattern, which really adds some variation to it. So as you go around, we'll put in the most energetic one, which is the second one. Nice. And then let's add in the top loop as well. We'll just let that go around. But at any point, you can just cut it round. So let's put in the slightly less energetic one. And now with this, you can just mess around with any of the patterns that's going on. So at any point, say I want to take the tempo down a little bit, I can take out the shaker, add in a slower kick drum. Totally changes the vibe, like straight away. So yeah, with this you can just really play around. Like this is how I like to do it: kick, snare, hats, shakers, and bass, and then you can have any other little sonic treats, shall we say. And basically you can just mess around, like it's really good fun. So let's just add in the slightly more energetic kick and the shaker and just see what happens. See right there, you've got a transition between a breakdown and a verse section, let's say. So then all of this, you can just be having it running, messing around with it all, which is great fun. And then over on the Maschine, with like in this kind of production, I've made everything in Ableton, and then the Maschine is just like an effects launcher, basically. So you can probably hear throughout, I've got this kind of wet, like really reverby kind of snare or impact sound, which is great because I love just dropping that in. It just adds a little bit of interest, you know, a little bit of variation. But we've also got loads of other effects in here, like we've got some of this, you know, and as the track's running, let's just get that going again. Oh no, I've stopped them all. Let's get them all going again. So let's launch them all at once. So with this now, this is just going to run by itself quite happily. And then to add a little bit more interest to it, we can add in some of the effects. this, you know, it not only does it make it more fun to do, but really it emphasizes the depth, you know, the scope that the track has got. Okay, cool. So that's basically how everything's put together. So let's just jump in and watch a bit of me just messing around, kind of putting some stuff together. Enjoy.
Let's give thanks and praise unto the Most High Jah, Rastafari, Haile Selassie the First, for giving I and I this great and wonderful privilege. Come together in love and perfect unity. Let's give thanks and praise unto the Most High Jah, Rastafari, Haile Selassie the First, for giving I and I this great and wonderful privilege. Come together in love and perfect unity.
How long will I live? When will I die? Is there a heaven or was that a lie? Let me tell you so I might, don't really mind. Just as long as I'm here, I'll kill that with style. Whether it's now or in the future, make sure you bear me with the shooter. Bulletproof inside my silencer. When I go to the grave, I keep it gangster. 6 foot deep, and reef. Bonded the pedal, lucky beast. Big war I gone between north and east. So watch your neck back, protect your headpiece. Please, my youth, wanna try live clean, but do your own thing and smoke a little weed before you start smoke. Separate your seed, Jah Rastafari bless you and me.
Survive is not trap but war. Him say my stand out anymore. Say I'm in my they won't hit far. Without Jah, they can't reach far. Survive is not trap but war. Him say my stand out anymore. Say I'm in my they won't hit far. Without Jah, they can't reach me. Survive is not trap but war. Him say my stand out anymore. Say I'm in my they won't hit far. Without Jah, they can't reach far. Survive is not trap but war. Him say my stand out anymore. Say I'm in my they won't hit far. Without Jah, they can't reach.
Them boy get bodies in the revolution. Where the war is begun. Box, hand me. Somebody like I got them can't see me come. Them boy get up and run. 2004, 3, 2, 1. When I'm as when I'm what tongue. Life through life, what life I got done. Bonfire, bonfire, bun. Just to me job and the venomous tongue. Some people get bang and people start run. Don't tell the guy that rock bun. When me say again, up, fire bun. Run with the roof, load, they must say dumb. Bulletproof, best and me pump action. Then come up, flex that button. Jah Rastafari.
Let's give thanks and praise unto the Most High Jah, Rastafari, Haile Selassie the First, for giving I and I this great and wonderful privilege. Come together in love and perfect unity. Let's give thanks and praise unto the Most High Jah, Rastafari, Haile Selassie the First, for giving I and I this great and wonderful privilege. Come together in love and perfect unity.
Alright then, so there we go, that's it. That is how I get in, cut stuff up, and just jam around and have some fun with it. Because at the end of the day, making music should be a fun process, do you know what I mean? It shouldn't just be sitting there all the time, just clicking away with your mouse. It gets a bit boring after a while. So, yeah, I really hope that you guys like the video. Leave us a like and a comment, and, you know, maybe even subscribe. And, yeah, I hope it inspired you to get out there and get cutting. Wicked. All right, people, stay good. I'll see you lot in the next one.
How long will I live? When will I die? Is there a heaven or was that a lie? Let me tell you so I might, don't really mind. Just as long as I'm here, I'll kill that with style. Whether it's now or in the future, make sure you bear me with the shooter. Bulletproof inside my silencer. When I go to the grave, I keep it gangster. 6 foot deep, and reef. Bonded the pedal, lucky beast. Big war I gone between north and east. So watch your neck back, protect your headpiece. Please, my youth, wanna try live clean, but do your own thing and smoke a little weed before you start smoke. Separate your seed, Jah Rastafari bless you and me.
Survive is not trap but war. Him say my stand out anymore. Say I'm in my they won't hit far. Without Jah, they can't reach far. Survive is not trap but war. Him say my stand out anymore. Say I'm in my